Y'all got me, guys? Check. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna start on Facebook and then just holler at me when. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Brady Taylor back here in the First Alert Weather Center. We're going to jump on KWTX in just a couple minutes, but I don't know if you can hear it as well as I can in our KWTX studios, but soggy day all across central Texas, and flash flooding really the main concern from all this activity. This is the latest look of our KWTX radar network. He had a wave move through our eastern county. It was getting a little lull, but it's not going to last long. Heavy rain dropping on average rainfall rates. This isn't going to be exact amounts, but falling at upwards of 2 to 3 inches of rain per hour in some of these cores. You see a lot of lightning as well. That lightning moving right over I-35. So very noisy storms, intense heavy rainfall. So if you don't have to be out on area roads here for the next little while, that's probably a good case to kind of take that heed, that action. Till 5:15, a flash flood warning is in effect for Coryell, Bell, and southern McLennan County. We have another flash flood warning that's in effect for eastern McLennan County, parts of Limestone, and Freestone County as well. Heavy rain is going to be the big story. Now, as we progress deeper into the afternoon, this threat's going to shift a little more south and a little more east as this complex continues to work its way through and pushing out of our area. But again, a lot to keep an eye on. Do want to remind you that a flash or a flood watch is in effect area wide. That rolls through tonight. So what we will be dealing with is it's going to be the flash flooding concerns that are going on right now and through the afternoon. Deeper into the evening, into the night, it's going to be the more river flooding. Stand by just a second. We're going to jump on TV real quick and then we'll continue our coverage here on Facebook.
This is a KWTX First Alert Severe Weather Update.
Meteorologist Brady Taylor here in the First Alert Weather Center. A First Alert weather day mainly due to the potential of very heavy rain that's ongoing now and is going to continue at least through the afternoon, could last into the early evening. Flood watch in effect for all central Texas counties. That's due to 1 to 3 inches that are possible. Some areas may have already got to that point. Isolated 6-inch totals. You add that on top of historic rains we've already seen for the first half of the month of May, and that is going to aggravate flash flooding concerns. The overall severe threat when you talk hail, winds, tornadoes is overall low, and as the afternoon goes on, that threat continues to go down. So that's good news, but a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 5 o'clock. I think hail up to around quarter size, some areas of gusty winds can't be ruled out, but it's really the heavy rain threat that we're watching the most as we go through the afternoon hours across central Texas. This is a look at our KWTX radar network. We had one wave move through our eastern counties, but right now you can see kind of multiple waves. We got 1, 2, 3, and that's the problem. Is we're going to get some of these waves roll over areas that have already seen heavy rain. That's what we call kind of a training effect, where it's wave after wave moving through, and that could start to enhance the flooding concerns. So we've got heavy rain right now, dropping rain rates upwards of 2 to 3 inches up and down I-35 between Waco and Temple. Another wave of heavy rain in southwestern Coryell County, stretching down towards Coppers Cove and Kempner. Moderate to heavy rain in Lampasas, and yet another wave that's in mainly San Saba County, but some moderate rain in Mills County as well. We will start to see these waves. You can kind of see each one stepping down a little farther to the south. As each one of these individual thunderstorms form, they'll kind of collapse and push cooler air away, and that's what we call an outflow boundary. Well, a lot of times these secondary and third systems will kind of follow those outflow boundaries to the south. So each wave we see should shift more south, and that should allow some of that heavier rain to eventually move out of our area, but still very heavy rainfall. We have a flash flood warning that's in effect for much of Coryell. So it's officially Bell, Coryell, Lampasas, McLennan. It's kind of hard to see the green, but that'll run till 5:15, and that's due to the high rainfall amounts. Heavy rain sticks around in the forecast throughout the day. We'll be back with updates on air throughout the day as well. We're also going to be on our Facebook page. You can watch there as we stream our coverage throughout the afternoon. All right, so we'll continue here for a few minutes, kind of showing you what's going on with the rain across our area as we go through the afternoon. But overall, we're looking at heavy, let me click the right button here, heavy rain that's going on across central Texas. Flooding is a big concern as we go through the afternoon. Let's take a look at the rainfall amounts so far for us. And again, it's getting to these, we'll do 6 hour. Many of us, it's not 6 hours, but this kind of gives us a good view of what's going on. Right now, you can kind of see where these kind of areas of wave after wave of rains moving through. Anytime we start seeing the yellows popping up, that's when we're starting to get close to in that 2 to 3 inch style rain showing up. So between Coryell and Bell County, some 2.5 inch totals. There's also some areas near the Brazos River. And then you go north of Lake Whitney, some 2 inch or higher totals as well. The McLennan Limestone County line, 2+ inches. Parts of, I mean, you can see it's pretty widespread 2 inch totals already, and we're not done by any means with this event. So there's some areas that haven't. You kind of see some lack, but again, Waco's not showing much now, but I can hear it falling on us. So these numbers will continue to increase and go up area wide. I saw Lisa asking about hail. Fortunately, we had some early hail concerns. I'll throw on the hail tracker here and it'll show. When you're only seeing these purples on here, that's P to maybe dime size hail. So hail, not a big concern. Overall wind gusts shouldn't be too crazy. Again, the big issue we have right now is just the heavy rain. There's frequent cloud to ground lightning. We're going to see the initial kind of flash flooding concerns where heavy rain falls in an area that just can't absorb the rain. There's nowhere for it to run off real fast. So that's a concern we're seeing up and down I-35 right now. Then the I-14 corridor, this next wave of rain is going to move through. So areas in Belton that's already seen heavy rain, Temple, you've got another wave that's going to be moving in behind this one. So it's that secondary wave sometimes that can cause the biggest concerns. So even if you have one wave move through, this may be where you have to coordinate rain to try to figure out best way to get around. But it's also a day you want to make sure you're not trying to drive across any flooded roadways because the water is going to be surging quickly. You do not know what the road surface is like underneath that water that's surging across. There's no guarantee the roadway's there. We've seen instances where roadways have been washed away, and really you get some of these more county rural roads that may not have as much of a curb built into them, where pieces of that asphalt and concrete can get broken off just because the under part, the soil underneath, can wash away. That's where you could have big potholes. You can have portions of the road swept away. So we always say it's a very easy saying, turn around, don't drown. Don't try to chance it getting out there in areas that could have flooding. As the afternoon and evening goes on, we'll shift from this flash flood to more of the river flooding, watching to see creeks and rivers that come up. And it'll be some of the ones that we've been watching, the Leon, the Bosque, some of those that have had issues. And all this rain that's going across Coryell County is going to move into parts of Leon. Cowhouse Creek, that's one that runs across parts of Fort Cavazos and has some issues as well. And then in around the Waco area, you're going to be watching the Brazos River, particularly down south and east as you move down into parts of Falls County as well. Penny saying getting that thunder, lightning, and heavy rain. Yes, we are getting a lot of that. So it's good news, bad news. The one bit of good news is, last night, if you're watching, we were talking about the heavy rain being the main threat, but that severe threat was there, and there was even some indications of kind of a slim tornado threat, but that has gone away. The one area that I watch for potential severe weather is this down in our southeastern counties, but you can kind of see that activity kind of there in the last few frames kind of building down to the south. So that's the outflow boundary that's pushing away from these thunderstorms. Once that pushes through, you get kind of rain, cooled air. The storm isn't ingesting that very warm, muggy air. So that cuts that severe threat down, but it does not diminish the heavy rain potential. And that's the worry that we have right now. I'm going to take the rain off here and show you just the different flood advisories and warnings we have. So the dark green is flash flood warnings. That's where intense rain has caused flooding concerns, either ongoing or expected to go. The light green is a flood advisory, meaning there's been some moderate rain, more moderate rain is possible. That's more where your flood prone areas, your low-lying areas, minor street flooding, stuff like that could occur. But the darker green, that means flash flooding is likely or ongoing now or within the next hour as heavy rain's occurring. We're talking 1 to 3 inches with another 1 to 3 inches likely in that area as well. So we always kind of react to tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, but in an average year, more people are killed from flash flooding than all other types of severe weather combined. So you've got to take flash flooding seriously. And when you're thinking about driving, why we tell people not to try to cross flooded roadways or waterways. 6 inches of fast-moving water can sweep most people off their feet. Anywhere from a foot to 18 inches of fast-moving water can float most vehicles. So that just shows you that's not much water, and you take the force of that water, it can pick vehicles up, and once it knocks someone off their feet, it's going to be hard to recover them and keep them from getting hurt or killed in these flooded roadways. So Yeah, I guess somebody asked about tornadoes. Yeah, so Evan asked, yeah, Edward mentioned there, yeah, the tornado threat is low. That's definitely good. We get this rain-cooled air. Let me see. I mean, we're in the north and west of the Waco area, north and west of I-35. We're in the 60s right now. Now, it's still 80 down in Bryan College Station, so there's warm, muggier air there. But overall, the threat isn't too high for us, so that's good. And then once you get this rain kind of overworking the atmosphere, that continues to diminish that tornadic threat. So let's take a little closer on the radar. Again, we've got these flash flood warnings that are in place. Gonna loop some of this and kind of show you. So we've had a little lull after the first wave across parts of Falls and Limestone County, but more is building in. McLennan County, we've got the heavy rain that's building, kind of went from south to north. So you can see that kind of building in there. So all of McLennan County going to have some very heavy rain move through. I-35 has been a mess here recently. Now it's shifting more to eventually Highway 7, so Rosebud Lot, areas like that up towards Robinson, heavy rain moving on that corridor. Highway 7 between Marlin and Moody, that Bruceville Eddy area, that's going to start getting very soggy as well. Some of the rural eastern portions of Bell County, Westphalia, areas like that, and you're going to see all that heavy rain shifting into Falls County. But again, just because one wave moves through, this isn't one of those one and done kind of deals, really in our southern counties, because we have 2 more waves of heavy rain. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, but you can kind of see that southwestern tilt to that. So our northern, say north of Highway 84, we get this first wave through. There's going to be moderate showers, but the heavier bands are going to step a little more down to the south. So that flooding threat will start shifting more down into areas that haven't even seen a drop of rain. But what we've really got to watch out is kind of that central corridor there where you get potentially all 3 waves of rain move through. That will be where we start to see the highest those are more extreme accounts of rain that get worried about when we start talking about these style events like this. So again, if you've just tuned in, the tornado threat looks very, very low with this. The hail threat is very, very low. These purples are just showing pea-size hail that are potentially in this. The worries that we really have are the rainfall rates that are in this. And let me see where I've got that button. Got too many buttons to click on here. I know I clicked it earlier. Oh, here we go, rainfall rate. All right, so don't take this as a ground truth of how much rain's falling in one area. What this helps us to see is how intense the rain is falling. And when we start seeing these whites on here, that's where we're starting to see the 3-inch or more rainfall per hour that could fall. Now, these storms are sliding east, so they're not going to fall that much in one area in exactly an hour, but we've got intense rain near and east of I-35, some more moderate to intense rain there on the Coryell, Burnett, Lampasas, kind of Bell County intersection there, and still some pockets of pretty heavy rain out across San Saba, down towards the Cherokee area, and then down into parts of Llano County as well. So there's a lot of rain falling, and that's going to be continued an issue. Not only you want to be careful with the rain, but there's a good bit of lightning with these thunderstorms as well. That just shows how strong these are. Fortunately, the hail's not a major concern, but we've got some pretty significant rain that's ongoing, and that flash flooding concern is going to continue to be there as well. Donna mentioning that the lakes will be filled all the way. Yeah, the only lakes, I mean, none of our central Texas lakes need the rain. Now, one benefit of all the rain along the Colorado River, if you've ever been down to Lake Buchanan, it is still only at 60%. It is a monstrous lake, so it takes a lot of water to recover. So that runoff will be good. Now, all of this lake water, particularly west of I-35, is eventually going to make it into some of our area lakes. All of our lakes are above where they should be and are releasing water. Lake Waco, last I checked a couple days ago, was at 17 feet. Its peak was nearly 20 foot above normal. Even with the water release, it will come up some with this event. So area lakes are going to start to get into their built-in floodplains. All of the area lakes in central Texas have areas that are built to take on floodwater. Now, it's not as fun for us because that's where all your parks are. So you don't get to enjoy some of that stuff because that extra water is holding to keep other areas in Texas from flooding. So some lakes have that built in. Lake Limestone doesn't have quite as much, so it's dumping a lot of water heading down the Navasota down into parts of the Brazos River. Some of the area lakes up north don't have floodplains built in as well, so sometimes they have to empty out water as well. So kind of a thing we're watching here. And feel free if you want to pass along any rainfall totals you've got. I know it's probably hard to get those exactly, or if you're seeing any flooding, that helps us as well. We have crews in McLennan, Bell, Falls, Limestone County, and crews ready to go elsewhere across central Texas. It's more for us now. We're just kind of positioning and waiting to see where the flooding occurs. It always varies depending on where the pockets of some of that heavier rain is occurring, and also areas that have seen issues as well. So that's really going to be the big focus for us as we go over the next few hours. We are getting we got some reports in Bosque County. Emergency managers are reporting closing the bridge. This is up in near Morgan, County Road 1120. And Whitney, Bosque County emergency managers reporting closing of County Road 1743 due to water crossing the bridges as well. I mean, you're going to get some of these county roads, your lesser traveled areas, and some of your more dirt roads that have just the low water over a creek that's going to swell real quick. So some of this stuff is so it's mainly in the north and eastern parts of Bosque County right now that they're worried about some of the flooding that they're passing along to us in the National Weather Service that they're closing. So again, if barricades are up, do not go around the barricades. The people that put those there did that for a reason. Trust the people that are emergency management and county officials that are out monitoring this. This is you're never in a big enough hurry to go risking your life going across flooded water. So find another way, take your time, you'll get there when you get there kind of thing. So if you're late and someone gets mad at you, tell them I told you to go the other way and they can call me. I mean, it's fine. All right, so let's see here. Let's check in. Getting some reports east of Temple, some flooding, wind picking up some pea-sized hail. So thank you for that report. Bosque Boulevard and the Waco area is flooded over. Yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, this kind of reminds me of some of the ones we've had several years ago, that you get to roadways that you just don't think could flood, that there's just water and holds on, because once the creeks and stuff like that and the bar ditches start filling up, there's nowhere for the water to run. So you may notice with this event some flooding that is occurring in areas that may have never seen flooding before. If you're like, oh, I'm good. You got saturated ground like we rarely ever see this time of year, really as wet as it's been, or dry as it's been leading up to this. I mean, heck, if this kind of rain had fallen back in the middle of last year or the year before, we'd be sitting here dancing around excited, saying, hey, it's good. But when you're adding it on top of, I mean, just Waco alone, just in the month of May, before today was already over 8 inches just for the month, and all of our areas are sitting 10 inches or more above normal for rain for the year. So it seems to be the way it works. You go from never enough to way too much, really too fast on this. So let's check and see. No more reports on any of that stuff. So again, we're going to see this moderate to heavy rain continue to move through central Texas. We're continuing to watch this activity work its way through. Somebody asking how much more is expected tonight. So before I jump off, yeah, there we go. Now, Jacqueline, if you're using me as an excuse, make sure it's actually weather related. After today, this is a one-time note I'm giving you. You don't get to blame it on me every time, but yeah, if I get a bunch of bosses call me because you're late, then I guess I'll have to deal with that. All right, so this is what the radar, our models are showing. Again, take some of this with a grain of salt. Models can pick up kind of trends, but it has a hard time with individual thunderstorms. But as we go past 5 o'clock, the heavier rain threat will start to shift east of I-35, and then we should see a gradual drying trend through the evening. Now, one little wrinkle, let's see what the latest run of our models is doing. Yeah, they're picking up on a little system out west. I'm gonna go back and forth, just kind of, it's up until about 2 hours ago, this system looked like it was gonna form out in the big country and fall apart. So we'll have to watch for one little wave of overnight rain if it can hold together. But overall, I think once we get past 5, 6 o'clock this evening, 8 o'clock this evening, the latest for some of our western counties, I think we'll see a lull. River flooding could still be a concern overnight into tomorrow morning. That's why the flood watch is in effect through tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And then we'll have to watch if that one little wave of overnight rain could be moving in as well. You know, and I've had some people ask, looking ahead to events and stuff going on the next few days. After tomorrow morning, we're rain-free the rest of the weekend. Now, the ground's going to be just muddy and nasty, but we've got a stretch of a few days that are going to be warm, rain-free style days for us across central Texas. So that's some good news. It's just very, very soggy conditions that are going to be in for this evening that is going to be causing the flooding concerns for our area. Give me just 1 second. I need to check on something here. All right, so let's check in with some of your questions. Now, for folks that are worried about, I know a lot of folks. All right, so Tiffany, I'm going to, Tiffany is asking, the KWTX app is showing a different thing on the rain. Yes, it probably is. So that's one thing why, and I wish I could switch what data goes into our weather app. So our weather app pulls a specific model data for the future forecast. That's why we love for people, and why we say you need to trust a human being, not just a computer on telling you stuff. Every weather app you have just throws the same model out every time it rains. Well, weather models can fluctuate largely on how well they're handling particular events. The model I'm showing you here on Facebook right now is a different model because I didn't trust the one that's going on our app. I wish I could change it, but that's why we want you to have our weather app. It's good 90% of the time. Every once in a while, that one particular model just doesn't handle the setup as well. But that's where we put those videos on our app as well, because that's been vetted by our weather team saying, all right, this is really what we expect. Sometimes, again, you can't trust computers on everything. So one, that's why we want you to have our weather app, because we'll be there to kind of tell you, hey, this is what we're actually looking at, because sometimes computers just don't get it right. That's just the way it goes. So again, flash flooding conditions, really the big story right now across much of central Texas. Heavy rain passing through the I-35 corridor, and then we've got 2 more waves of heavier rain that are moving across our south and western counties. All this activity is going to gradually shift east and slowly kind of build down to the southeast. So we should start to see improvements first out in our north and western counties. Now, that wave in San Saba is the last big wave, but you can see out towards McCullough County, out towards Brady, off towards Brownwood, we're getting a little more scattered activity. That could be a concern as we continue to go through the afternoon hours and through the evening hours as well. Let's see here if I don't know if this is going to pull up the right one. Nope. I was trying to see if I had pre-built in. Sorry for going black there. We've got our Edge and Explorer out driving around, but I'll have to, next time I'm off air, I've got to move stuff around so it's pulling the right feed into my computer here. But I mean, they're just driving around. It's no big deal. Which, is that RIM 13, guys, that's on? Okay, I can fix it on my end. That's easy enough. Yeah, so this is a view from our Weather Explorer out looking in the Waco area. So nasty out there. Yeah, it's a good day to stay home now. I know we're within the hour of having to pick kids up at school and stuff like that. Kids riding home on the buses and everything. We will be in communication with everybody as much as we can. It's just one of those, you got to take it slow, take it safe out there. Again, the only roadway closures that we've had reported to us so far have been mainly in Bosque County. Again, flash flooding is going to be a concern through the evening commute time frame across central Texas. These waves of heavy rain continue to work their way into central Texas. So take it slow, take it easy. If your commute to and from school or work involves going through areas that are more flood prone, those are going to be the first areas to see significant flooding. And then we'll have to just see how this rain impacts area rivers and creeks and stuff like that as we go through the rest of the evening. Somebody asked about Salado and Jarrell. Not as bad there right now, but you got a lot more rain heading that way. That's going to be pushing in. Salado's got a big playoff baseball game tonight in the Belton at Lake Belton High against Gatesville. So both those schools hoping this rain gets out of here quick so they can play some baseball tonight. So congratulations to both those teams. Still got several teams in the baseball playoffs. So every time we get to baseball playoffs, it always seems like that's when we get the crazier. Oh, Delbert, yeah, rode his motorcycle to work. Yeah, it's not going to be good motorcycle weather heading back home from work, so be very, very careful with that. Let's go back again and show you real quick the rainfall amounts that we're looking at. Again, I'm going to do the 6 hour just to kind of broad brush show you, and you can see anytime we get those greens to yellows, that's when we start picking up the 2-inch or higher amounts, and it's going to be these individual little pockets where that lines up, and then kind of where that water feeds into, because we're going to get some we've got your more flood-prone creeks and rivers west of I-35. Again, the Bosque that's something we'll have to watch. The worst hasn't been in the Clifton Valley Mills area, so that's good news, Meridian, but some of this water, hopefully all of it will go into the Brazos, not as much the Bosque, but there will be some concerns to watch there. The Gatesville area south, Cowhouse Creek, Leon River, that's where we've got to watch. And you've got to remember that Leon's going to eventually dump into Lake Belton, so Lake Belton likely to rise. And then as you go southeast from there, you got the Leon River that still can be a flood concern as you move south and east. The Little River is another area that sees some of that. Stillhouse Hollow, you're going to be looking out west to see how much water falls into the Lampasas River. That will move into the Stillhouse Reservoir. So those are kind of the areas. And then we get in our southeastern counties. Again, Leon River always seems to be, if you've ever drove near the Leon, it's a weavy, windy, slow little river, and it can have some issues as it continues. All right, so Nicole asking about what time we should clear out Belton Temple. The worst of it should be out of your area by 5, 6 o'clock. The thing we'll have to watch is the chance for some scattered evening showers and thunderstorms, but it won't be as widespread, likely not as heavy as what we're seeing right now. Really, the back edge of the biggest rain is this activity out in San Saba County. There's still some scattered stuff, but the last big wave of this particular system is starting to move into our western county. So it is moving pretty quickly. It's just dumping a ton of rain across parts of our area as it continues to move through. So Elmont asking, I mean, pretty much everyone in Central Texas, you're looking, it'll end earlier in our western counties, at least the widespread rain. I-35 up and down, we're probably talking 5, 6 o'clock. Eastern counties maybe about between 6 and 8 o'clock, at least the big widespread rain. Now, what we can hope is that this last wave will continue to slide east quickly, then we'll just watch for redevelopment. But through at least the 5 o'clock commute, most areas of Central Texas near and east of I-35 still going to be dealing with these pockets of heavy rain that are moving through parts of Central Texas as well. All right, so we're going to step away for just a little bit. We'll get you updated on our weather app. Again, have that handy. We'll have more on KWTX, and we'll be back here. We're kind of just doing these periodic updates to keep you posted. We'll have another one coming up kind of before that, getting out to school early in the 3 o'clock hour to get you another update on where everything sits in the rainfall totals as well. So stay with News 10. We'll keep you updated throughout the day.